what have we actually like missed in the last how many weeks? It's been a while since we dropped. So what have we missed? What's been happening? So the whole Greenwood thing, that was just nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it just came out of the blue. And as a Man United
What are
fan,
your thoughts on that? So we'll go one by one. So obviously, I know it's not really relevant anymore, but to be fair, it's a whole topic in general. Footballers coming out like the Mendy situation is disgusting. There was that guy from Everton,
the Mendy.
who didn't get named, Mendy from City.
Oh yeah.
And then there was obviously the guy from, is it Everton?
Sigurdsson.
Which he never got actually officially named.
Yeah.
But okay,
but
well,
you
it's
can work it out.
allegedly,
Yeah, allegedly it's him. Yeah.
And he was like a young child, and then obviously Greenwood.
See, with like it just what I noticed straight away is they don't take like what women say like for word. It's scary. Like the people's first reaction was, oh, there's two sides to every story. I was like, bro, like if whichever side the Greenwood has in this story, both sides do not look good. Like the videos, not the video, the audio, the fucking pictures, everything just doesn't look good. So
obviously, look, the whole thing is obviously pretty clear cut. Like, I mean, I'm not talking about in terms of that side of things, but I'm talking about the whole correlation between footballers and, you know, getting done for some sort of sexual assault. Like, obviously, there were some people claiming that obviously where young footballers are, you know, given so much so early.
The thing is, I don't think it's not just because they're footballers. I feel like it's they feel like they are untouchable, and that comes from getting money at a young age like that. I feel like it happens because you have so much money and people around you telling you, yeah, yes. When you're surrounded by yes men like that, you just feel like you can get whatever you want and there's no consequences to it. And that's clear from the audios and from the whole Greenwood situation.
Yeah,
like they don't like hearing no. I feel like that does come from.
I mean, I feel obviously that whole situation. Yeah, he's obviously just not right in the head. Like that audio was like I couldn't. I couldn't listen to it.
I listened to like the first like 10 seconds. Came off it, and then I thought, let me listen to a bit more. Then I couldn't listen to the whole thing in one go. Like it was disturbing. But again, and the thing is, my whole like takeaway from that situation was the public's reaction to it, like social media's reaction to it. The amount of like football Twitter is very anonymous. Like there's no faces to it. It's all like people with like footballers as their avi. Like so they can say whatever they want. But the amount of those football Twitter accounts that I saw that was saying, oh, maybe it wasn't him, or like we need to hear his side of this, blah blah blah. Basically, like trying to make excuses for him. I saw loads like victim blaming.
We know from the Euros and from other racist incidents anyway how football Twitter can be anyway. So that's a whole other sort of conversation.
Yeah.
But so yeah, obviously this year has just been, you know what? The last 2-3 years have just been fucked. Like, we just can't have nice things.
What do you mean?
In terms of like, whole pandemic comes to an end. Now there's this whole war situation. Like,
no, but to be honest, yeah, I feel like there's always been these kind of stuff happening in the world. But obviously not like the pandemic. I mean, the war situation. Like, the only reason
actually, you know what? We'll get straight into that because, to be fair, this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, my view on it is obviously, in all honesty, I know that you might know, I feel like you might know a bit more background info as to like how the whole thing has come about. But my view on it, just massive UK and US propaganda, you know, like in terms of like what Russia are doing to Ukraine. Is it any different to what the UK done to Afghanistan or what the UK done to Iraq or like all of these other things, or even what's happening right now in countries like, obviously the Israeli occupation of Palestine, or what's happening now in Yemen, like even the whole Uyghur Muslim situation, like all of these things are, in my opinion, like, I mean, I know the whole, I'm not trying to belittle or discredit or like basically shit on what's happening in Ukraine, because obviously injustice is injustice, like, but
no, it's all like, injustice. Yeah, you're right though. You're right.
But it's situation. It's just mad UK propaganda.
The only difference is it's a country that is very powerful that the UK and the US don't get along with. That's the only reason the propaganda is crazy. Do you know the background behind like what?
Well, go on. I know it's something to do with Ukraine joining NATO, and then
basically it started off. It goes back to like the Cold War, like in the 1970s, 80s.
Yeah. Cold War.
The Cold War was between the Soviet Union, which was Russia,
and Ukraine.
Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. Yeah. So Ukraine, Latvia, Estonia, loads of countries were part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And so the Soviet Union were basically like based on communism. I don't want to go into communism, it's just a long thing. So it's based on communism. But what happened was the Soviet Union and the USA had a really like big disagreement. They obviously the US is a capitalist country, and the Soviet Union is full of communism, so it just doesn't work. It's literally
clash of socialist ideologies versus, and all that.
Yeah. The ideologies don't work. So because of that, obviously the whole Cold War happened. So then the Soviet Union broke apart. Like it fell through in like the 90s, I think. No, 80s or 90s. Yeah. And what happened was most of the countries that was part of the Soviet Union got their independence. So Ukraine became its own country, Latvia became its own country. All these countries just
became their own, basically.
And obviously Russia had its own country.
How does that link to what's happening?
What happened then is, during the Soviet Union Cold War situation, NATO was formed. So NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty. So it's all the Western countries. They formed basically an army, to fight against the Soviet Union. So the problem is, the whole point of NATO was to go against the Soviet Union. But even after the Soviet Union fell, NATO was still active.
Yeah.
So the issue is,
it's the slowest explanation I've had to sit through.
But I'm trying to explain it like
I get
the best I can.
No, okay, cool. So what I understand of it so far is Cold War, Soviet Union split apart, NATO was formed during the Cold War, and it's still existed following the Cold War.
So Russia didn't want NATO to exist, because the whole point of NATO was to break apart Soviet Union.
I get that.
Russia, who were really like still basically communist, they were a communist like country. They didn't want NATO to exist. So what happened was, Russia demanded that NATO can't spread any further. So the countries that were in NATO when the Soviet Union fell, they couldn't add more countries into NATO.
Okay.
But the NATO didn't bother listening to Russia. Russia told them many times.
So
Russia even had a deal. Apparently, the Russian president at the time went to America and spoke to like the American president at the time, and they brokered a deal. But it was a verbal agreement. It was never written, saying that the NATO will not spread further east in Europe.
Right.
So, but 20 years have passed. NATO's pretty much taken all the countries in Europe. So pretty much all the countries in Europe is part of NATO.
Bloody hell, Abz, trying to put me to sleep, mate. Come on, let's get to the.
And then now the problem is Ukraine is literally next door to Russia.
Oh, so hold on. So the US. Okay, cool. So the US is trying to get NATO, Ukraine to join NATO.
Yes,
and
US has always wanted.
Gonna be pissed
US is the ones that want every country to join.
So the war. Is America's fault?
It's kinda. Ukraine can't join NATO until everyone in NATO unanimously agrees.
Okay.
But for the past like 20 years or something, France and Germany are the main ones that don't want Ukraine in the NATO. So because of that, Ukraine can't join the NATO anyway. So this whole war situation is pointless regardless, because Ukraine can't join NATO because Germany and France won't let them. But US wants them to join. So the problem is, if Ukraine joins NATO, that means the country next door to Russia is going to have weapons and the military facilities to attack Russia whenever they want. So basically, America will be based next door to Russia.
Do you know what?
Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, like, in all honesty,
Russia can't have that because they want to protect their own country. Blah blah blah. Like they've got their own reasons. Like, but they don't want Ukraine to be part of NATO because that will give America access to basically their country.
You know what? Yeah, the whole politics around, like, obviously just any wars in general are just, it's just a joke. Like, obviously it's all just based off of, and you know what, maybe this is me being naive or ignorant, yeah, but it's just pathetic. Like it's just all about power. Like, literally get your dicks out. Who's got the biggest, who's got the best and the biggest kind of like military or nuclear weapons or all that, all this and that. It's just annoying. Like, there's just so, and do you know what's mad? I was reading something about how much money that they spend on these wars and on their whole military as well. Like something stupid, like 70 odd billion. Like,
but do you want to hear what's even crazier? They people put money into the stock market for the weapons manufacturing companies.
Yeah,
they buy stocks in weapons manufacturing companies, thinking they're gonna go up in value because obviously a war's about to happen. So obviously those weapons companies are gonna make money. So people buy stocks into these companies. So again, it's more ways like for the rich to get richer.
This is what Ultron was saying about Tony Stark. No?
Oh my god.
Or was it Ultron?
What are you talking about?
About how he's made all of his money off like war.
Yeah, but that's pretty much most of America. Like America makes most of its money from weapons manufacturing. A lot of their money is from weapons manufacturing. Like they give weapons to pretty much everyone who's allies with them.
Yeah, I can't lie. It's just long. Like, it's just unnecessary as well. Because the worst thing about it is like they just drop bombs on innocent civilians as well. Like, and obviously I know, like I said, these sort of things have been happening in like countries all over the world. But yeah, I mean,
the thing is, it's kind of it's sad. In terms of it's nothing to do with Ukraine. Like, it's not even. Like they're not doing anything wrong. Like the country itself.
No, but that's what I mean. They've just been
caught in the middle of like
exactly. They've been caught in the middle of the US and Russia basically. And they're
NATO and Russia.
But who's the one pushing that?
Yeah, NATO's biggest thing is US.
America. So, man, you know what? I think everyone kind of knows anyway. Like how corrupt and unjust and like how much injustice there is in general. Like. It's just frustrating to hear, man. Like, we're here for peace, no war. But what can you do? This is why I just put my priorities in the simple things, But I've got a question for you. If we were to go, if we were to go to war, let's say, like, I know you've been, like, people have been saying, like, obviously it's hypothetical. Obviously, I don't think, obviously UK is not going to get involved physically in the war, but like.
As of now,
yeah. But if let's say if a war was to break out,
the thing is, if Russia attacks a NATO country, or if they go into a NATO country, the UK would have to get involved because in the NATO treaty it says
so if you hurt one of us, then you hurt.
Yeah, so everyone has to get involved. So it will turn into a pretty much a world war.
So if the UK was to go to war, and you had, and we obviously as like British citizens were called to fight for the country, would you go
fight for
the British Army?
The British Army.
like willingly, obviously, like would you go? Would you try and avoid it?
If they asked me, I'm not fighting no war. I'll be real with you. I invite.
If you got a letter,
anyone's
no,
war,
if, no,
bro.
no, no. If you got a letter through your door saying if you're over 18, you know, blah, blah,
Unless
blah,
they
blah, blah.
force me to do it,
Would
I'm
you
not
fight?
doing it. I'm not volunteering.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't. If I had to, I would go, but I'd be in the kitchens.
In the kitchen.
Yeah, I'd stay.
You know what? Yeah, that's like pretty much 70% of the army. Like people think when you join the army, you have to fight. in the
No,
front line.
I'll make the soup.
Like
in the kitchen.
pretty much 70% of it is logistics, like
Yeah.
engineers, cooks, like cleaners, everything. Like the army is it's
I'll be the guy that
only like 30% of it is like the front line.
you know, the guys that have to like negotiate with the other side and like
Dead.
come to like an
An
agreement.
agreement.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. I'll give that a shot. If that
I'm
doesn't
dead.
work, then I mean I'm a decent cook. I can try and do that.
It-
But I'm not
A
fighting
cook in the
no war
army, you
either.
know.
Or I just go back to Pakistan and
See, I
Live a
should have
simple
sorted my
life.
dual citizenship.
you're yeah. Have you not? Are you not?
I haven't sorted it out, so I can't even leave. It's sad.
Well, I've got a Pakistani national identity card,
Yeah,
so I feel like
I've got an old Indian passport
I've got an old Pakistani passport.
because I was
like,
born
older
there,
one.
innit? So I've got a.
I wasn't born there.
Yeah.
I was born here in Tooting.
Okay,
But,
no one needs to know that. But anyways, yeah,
Just representing the areas.
but yeah.
Our areas, in it. But anyways, yeah, I found an old Pakistani passport at home as well,
Mm.
which had my face on it. I didn't even realize I had one.
The thing is, yeah, you see how like the government's trying to get rid of all these people, like go back to your own country type vibe, like.
I mean,
I,
I'm not allowed to say it.
but if
Pretty
if the war breaks out, yeah. What if the people just say, yeah, you've been telling me to go back to my country, I'm gonna just go back. What are they gonna do? They
I
can't.
mean, do you know what? On the flip side, because I've heard like on the flip side, obviously we were born here, we were raised here, we were educated here for free, obviously. Like access to public healthcare, all of that. So like realistically speaking though, like I was speaking to someone about this the other day, and like they were similar to us in terms of like, you know, they're born here but their parents are from Jamaica, and they were like, yeah, I'd fight 100% because this is my country. Like I was I was born
depends.
here, I was raised
I feel
here.
like
But the thing is, I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't have that. Like I don't look at this like it is my home, 100%. And like there are certain things that I do actually, you know, like about British culture, and you know, I have a lot to be grateful for in terms of how I was brought up here, all the opportunities we were given, obviously like God willing and all of that sort of stuff. But in terms of, but like I don't know, like let's say when like I've said this to you before, like when Pakistan play England in a cricket match or whatever, I want Pakistan to win. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's just natural. Like I don't like, even though like Pakistan hasn't really done anything for me, but like it's weird. Like when I go back there, like I feel like that's my motherland. Like that's like my roots.
I'm surprised with that though, because especially I feel like that because I was born there, innit? Like
You were born there, but
I lived
realistically
there.
speaking, like you were
Yeah,
raised
I was raised. I
like
came
India
here when I was 2.
India hasn't really done anything for you
Yeah,
in
no,
terms of
I only lived 2
your-
years of my life in there, like in India. So obviously, but at the same time, I feel like more connection. I feel like
Yeah.
I honestly feel like English is my second language. I don't even see English as my first language.
Okay, yeah, English is my first language. I can't speak.
See, that's why I'm surprised that you feel like that, because yeah, I honestly feel like I always see English as my second language. I feel like I'm more fluent.
I'm interested to know what. So anyone obviously that's listening that is obviously like us, you know. To be fair, my parents were born and raised here. I know your
See,
parents were from India.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm technically first. I'm not even first generation. My brother's first generation because he was born here.
Ah.
So I'm still not first generation.
Yeah.
which is
Do you know
crazy.
what? I don't know. Like, am I wrong for feeling that way? I don't know. Like, I see like, I don't have a response. Like, because to be fair, this isn't something that someone's actually said to me. This is just something that I think, like, why do I feel like,
Now,
like,
see,
like,
I feel like it's because you. Honestly, I feel like it's the fact that you lived all of your life in London as well, which is a very multicultural city. You see, I feel like I feel a lot more. I feel a lot more patriotic towards Britain. Like I definitely do. Like when England play and like stuff like that. Like,
I mean, only very recently have I,
but
like, the last World Cup and
yeah,
the Euros were really the only two times that I've proper spurred England on.
really,
Yeah, like before that, in like
yeah.
all the other World
feel
Cups,
like-
like I didn't really feel much. You know,
I feel like that it depends on where you're raised, you know, because I lived 6 years up
In
in
Sunderland,
in
yeah.
Sunderland, and I was just surrounded by literally British people, like no other
Maybe,
culture.
maybe.
So I feel like I was raised in that culture.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't have a lot of white British friends
Yeah.
when I was growing up. I had a couple, but actually one of my closest friends in primary school was a middle class white boy, funnily
Yeah.
enough. But he weren't really like, I don't know.
Like British.
He weren't really like crazy about England either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
No,
well,
but-
not that I saw. I mean, I was little, I was young, but I mean, apart from that, I'm obviously that was like when I was young. But like growing up, most of my friends have been Asian, black, like mixed race or whatever. They haven't been. They're all like, well, just they're ethnic basically. So it might be that. It might be how you're raised, how you've grown up. But
It is a good question though, because I know for a fact we're not the only ones who feel like that. Like I know people who are like first generation or like even second generation, they might not feel that affinity towards this country.
yeah.
But with me, the whole like war stuff, even if India asked me to come and fight for them, I wouldn't do it because I just don't. That is not me.
Do you know what? I think when I deep it in general, yeah, I don't feel like I don't care about. And this might sound bad, and I don't want this to come across wrong because I love being in England and being here,
Mm-hmm.
and I love going to Pakistan and
Mhm.
experiencing that culture as well.
Mm-hmm.
But really, really and truly, if I really were to like, if I would never volunteer to put my life on the line for my country, I would put my life on the line for my religion. Like if I had to fight like an Islamic war,
What about
and it was like
Pakistan?
all the if it was like a war,
even if Pakistan asked you like they
not
asked you
really.
to fight
Do
for-
you know what? It depends on what it is. It depends on if I felt strongly about it. Like,
Mhm.
honest to God, yeah. If it was like a war against like, you know, like my religion, like against Islam, if it was like something like that, like
Mm.
hypothetically speaking, obviously, and it was like, then I would 100%.
What if it was a race
I'll
war?
put my life on the line. But
race war? Would you fight for Asians?
don't know. Don't like some Asians. I'm joking, but I don't know. I don't care that much about like countries. I don't think I'm a patriotic person. Like I don't look at any country and think, oh, like I would put my life on the line for my country. I would, you know, like them. Proper
Yeah,
people who
yeah.
would, like,
No,
they would die for.
I
this
never
country.
understood patriotism. I feel like patriotism is one of the biggest forms of brainwashing. Like
Do you know what?
I
It's
feel like
because-
it's shoved down your throat from when you're like young. This patriotism stuff. Like you see, like even singing your national anthem and stuff like that. Like I just think it's crazy.
Do
Like
you know what? It's a thing where like I just feel like every country, even Pakistan, even like some of the like even Saudi Arabia, like, do you know what I mean? Countries like the leaders of the countries, yeah, like they all have some sort of corruptness in terms of they all have agendas.
yeah, but that's
that
everywhere
aren't-
though.
Yeah, but
that's everywhere.
but that aren't genuine. Exactly, and that's why I wouldn't put my life on the line for a cause that I don't actually believe in. The only thing that I really believe in is that, for example, like what's happening, for example, in Palestine at the moment. Like, if I was called to like go and fight there or whatever, like I would if there was like a war to fight there, and it was like, you know, that like Palestine v, you know, the Zionists or whatever, bro, like I would go, and like I would, but that's because that's something I genuinely am passionate about in terms of the cause, and is for the sake of like my religion. But I would never do it for the country, man. Like I wouldn't, as long as my mindset when I'm here, like, and it
the
in
thing
the
is
least
though,
selfish way possible, it's just me and my own, like me and my own people.
Your country doesn't represent
my beliefs.
Your beliefs to like completely. Your country can be against everything you believe in. Like,
I think it depends, obviously, and this isn't me
like,
saying like.
Look at it this way. I'm Indian, yeah, but the Prime Minister of India, he's
yeah, you wouldn't fight a war for him.
He doesn't like Muslims. He doesn't like a lot of other religions. Most of India, is quite against every other religion. So I can't relate to that. Like I don't. That's why I don't look at India and I'm not patriotic about it. Like I wouldn't like start crying when the Indian national anthem gets played, and because of that, I feel like I'm kind of in a situation where I've got nowhere that I can kind of identify with. Like I don't feel anything when the English national anthem plays. Like
yeah, I identify with like my thing is more just like I feel like my people, my community are like Muslims in general. Like it doesn't matter to me like where you're from. Like when you go to like a mosque, for example, or like when you go to Saudi Arabia and you're in like Mecca or in Medina or whatever, like you genuinely feel like a sense of like brotherhood or like, and that's if I had to choose like what set of people I would identify with, 100% Muslims in general. Like, but yeah, like. Wouldn't be fighting a war for a country, man.
The thing is, with fighting for a country, yeah, what you actually fighting for? If you're fighting for freedom, yeah, I'll fully back it. I understand that. Like, if you're an oppressed country and you're like, for example, the Ukrainians right now, like, if I lived in Ukraine and like my country was getting invaded, like my home was getting invaded, then I would
see. Actually, you know what? I think this is the point.
However, I don't understand. Yeah. I wouldn't fight a war where it's got nothing to do with like. So as harsh as it sounds, if I got asked to fight a war because someone attacked a neighboring country to the UK, yeah, 100%. I wouldn't do it. Like,
so you would fight, and to be fair, I hear this.
I'll fight to protect my home.
Yeah. So if the UK was trying to be invaded, if a country, was trying to invade the UK,
yeah,
you know, like the British did in India,
yeah,
years ago, or whatever. Like if Russia, for example, or any other country tried to invade the UK, would you be like, oh no, I'm gonna protect my home. Like this is my home.
Yeah,
I'm gonna protect it.
Yeah, because my
See, you know what? Yeah, I can't even lie to you. I would honestly, I just feel like I would just be so concerned about my family. Yeah, I would try to get us out. I would honestly try to get us out, and then that'd be good.
Sometimes you can't get out though. Like,
yeah, cool. Like
if it's a world war, yeah, wherever you go, there will be like the war will be there.
I mean, it depends. Like back in World War II, if you just went to Jamaica, you'd probably be cool. Or I'm just being hypothetically, like not Jamaica specifically, but if you went to like maybe an island on the other side of the world, I mean, maybe. I mean, you probably wouldn't have been allowed to.
My point is though, like the only time I would, because I don't follow any of the ideals that India has. I don't follow any of the ideals that the current British government has. Like, so what am I fighting for? Like, if they ask me to fight, like, what am I fighting for? I don't agree with anything you guys are saying. Like,
it's a good question, and I mean, we're gonna wrap it up and continue this conversation probably next week. But let us know what you think, actually, because it's an interesting
It
topic.
is topical
around-
because obviously it's happening right now.
If
around
if
the
a
world.
country, I mean, to be fair, it's all hypothetical in terms of the UK and all that, but obviously we're not here for no violence, peace only.
That's another thing. Like, I don't believe in war in general. Like, I
No.
don't like the thought, like the idea of war. Like, people going to fight because people in power can't come to an agreement or can't find a solution. Like, if you look at it, Putin and the heads of NATO can't come to an agreement, or they have a certain ideal, so they're sending young soldiers and like people with families and stuff out to fight their battles for them.
Well, there you go. But those are obviously people that have, volunteered to do that. But anyways, yeah. Well, to be fair, we can obviously we'll see what the situation is next week. Like things are going to progress with this war, and God willing, things can come to a resolution. And likewise with all the other conflicts, Free Palestine, Uyghur Muslims as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apologies for the short episode, and
It's
also
short, and it's been a while since we put one out. So yeah. So
but obviously, if you liked more of that football reaction as well, which we'll put a little bit in there.
yeah.
Then shout me.
Thing is,
Can do more football reactions.
yeah, I mean football.
That's not what we
I
do.
don't mind doing a football podcast, but I don't think this is the
Nah.
one. But yeah, so it's been Abraham.
Man said Abraham.
Yeah, peace,
Um,
peace, bro. This whole episode's
on.
been about peace.
and this could potentially be to be confirmed, but just 2 bids. But anyways,
Well,
we'll see.
we'll keep you guys updated. Don't worry. Anyways,
Never walk alone. Free
oh my
Palestine.
God. Well, like and
Later.
subscribe. Give us your feedback. So see you guys soon.